So it is recording in the background. I mean, it's converting the file in the background.
बाकी दो कहाँ हैं?
आ जाएंगे.
This auto starts recording the moment the session starts, is it? You
No,
don't have control over
you can put it to that option, but I have not put it because I have Zoom calls every day. Sub record होगा, I'll run out of hard disk space.
So why is it right now showing recording?
Because I have already clicked record.
So click now when everyone is on.
अरे doesn't matter. I can cut that part out right later. I'm editing because मेरा ये है कि भूल गए तो प्रॉब्लम हो जाएगी. Maybe pee break over. I don't know. How are your parents doing, Harsh?
All good.
All good. नहीं अभी तो माई वगैरह भी नहीं आ सकती ना घर पे.
हाँ तो खाना मेस से आता है.
अच्छा खाना मेस से आता है. Okay. That day I made pork burgers at home. स्क्रैच से बनाया पूरा पैटी. ऐसा तुमने ब्रेड ब्रेक करी थी आदिति के इंस्टाग्राम पे देखा था.
Quite a few things actually.
अच्छा.
All the stuff that I learned during Paris.
Yeah, I cook once a week just to get a change, and we order in once or twice a week. Take the load off mama. Oh, Bali is very very busy. So
why?
Yeah, she was roped into the COVID response team.
Okay.
So she's been handling not the groundwork but the कहाँ से कौन सी चीज सोर्स करनी है, कौन सी चीज essential है, अपनी मैन्युफैक्चरिंग यहाँ के लिए उनके क्या रॉ मटेरियल चाहिए, वो कहाँ से सोर्स करते हैं, etc. Like those things she's been very heavily involved in. So the first few months, basically you could say like Chinese New Year plus minus onwards up to about mid-April were insane for her. अभी थोड़ा better हो गया, at least weekends मिल जाते हैं, but weekdays are still long because still now the whole reopening is going to start, right? So उसको कैसे manage करना है, क्या नहीं करना है, वो है. And then of course the whole economic impact of the thing, वो तो मतलब बाहर तो किसी को बता नहीं रहे हैं, but internally तो उनकी बातें शुरू हो गई हैं. So and then it's a situation where she can't talk about it to anybody, right? Because all this is all in time embargo stuff, classified stuff. So she can't tell us, she can't talk to Manu about it. She hasn't met Manu in like, since the start of the circuit breaker essentially. So yeah, that's also kind of adding to her. So yeah, she's generally a bit, I wouldn't say overwhelmed, but very, very busy. नॉर्मली नहीं तो वो सैलेड बनाती रहती है, कुछ ना कुछ करती रहती है. सो शी इज नॉट डन एनीथिंग ऑफ दैट सॉर्ट. है एक बार बनाया था.
I think this has been these 2 months. I hope, I honestly hope they don't open this economy yet, but they'll kar denge. These 2 months have been the best 2 months in the last sort of 10 odd years.
In what way?
Because I got time to do everything that I want.
Yeah, same with me. I've got time to do so many things.
I'm reading almost a book a week, and I'm working on them. My work day starts again at almost 7 in the morning, ends at around 10:30. But you can manage the work around things.
Yep. Same here. Like for me, I've been recording so much lessons and recreating my teaching content and all. It's significant amount of work that's going on.
And we have at least internally on the office side decided कि दिवाली तक नहीं जा रहे office.
हाँ, I think Bali side also. I think July August तक तो कोई नहीं जाएगा. I don't intend to go back to live teaching except for maybe one student because he's dyslexic and online lessons are not easy for him. For the others, I'm just going to stay to, क्या बोलते हैं, online lessons. यार उसका dyslexia भी है, dyscalculia भी है, which is basically inability to comprehend numbers. वो रूलर से लेके ब्लॉक को मेजर नहीं कर पाता ढंग से.
Oh.
Right, basic utna, and parents are very like not bothered. So I mean, he's been diagnosed and everything, but dyslexia association वाली classes के लिए भी जाता नहीं है because tuition center सब बंद है. Like वो दिन मैं उसको वॉल्यूम पढ़ा रहा था, ठीक है, 11 साल का है, तो उसके पास लेगो है, he likes to make लेगो, तो मैं बोला ठीक है लेगो के ब्लॉक्स ला एंड उसको मेजर कर, 3 साइज मेजर कर. While I was taking a Lego piece myself and demonstrating, उसको फिर भी नहीं समझ आया.
अरे उसको फिर से बुलाना पड़ेगा.
हाँ, क्या है तेरा रूममेट हमेशा लेट आता है.
Hello?
आना रे.
Open it, yeah.
हाँ.
How long ago?
Okay, coming.
Maybe you got some other Zoom call.
Maybe. तो हर्ष तुम्हारा काम हो जाता है क्या ऑनलाइन? इज फाइन ऐसे?
Yeah, my work was always online.
Oh, yeah, true,
Last
true.
year also I was in India में घूम रहा था 1-1.5 महीने के लिए.
हाँ करेक्ट. तब तो ठीक है. ये कहा गया.
अबे you guys know that comedian, right? Angad Singh Ranial.
Yes.
So he's been doing a bit of this time pass podcast called Baby Over. Quite hilarious. They're talking about matches of the time when we grew up, NatWest Trophy finals, and you know the India-Australia series and stuff, where India was just about, you know, starting to come up in world cricket with Ganguly and all that. Quite interesting and nostalgic to listen to those fellows just chit-chatting about it. So raat ko, it's like a 15-20 minute thing. Raat ko sometimes, you know, you just put it on and kind of listen to it. It's quite nice. Welcome back, Mr. Singh.
Happening.
How was your visit to the throne?
Oh no, I was here only. So I didn't see the message come in.
Right.
तू तो आजकल कुछ देख नहीं रहा है.
You're already practicing the maroon turban, all no?
No, it's nothing. That's the only one that's actually folded. The rest all wash and kept.
I know that. Okay, so we were talking about near misses. Okay, favorite ride of the trip or and a low moment on the trip. I think we've generally covered this, but let's just cover it once again. Specifically.
For me, it was basically the trip from Inlay onwards. The climb on the mountain. The road was still bad at the top, but at least it was nice, cold, and the view was good. So I didn't mind going through the rubble and all those things of going through that thing. So that was cool. And the initial roads up to the mountain were the kind of sweeping curves that I usually like to ride on. So that was quite nice to kind of quickly go through it. I think the low moment was basically me getting stuck in sand. Now my bike just stood in the sand, and that was basically I revved. This is basically I think going to Bagan, you know, where through those oil fields and all, right?
Yeah.
So I got stuck there. So I thought, okay, let me throttle it out, and that didn't work. That basically dug the rear wheel fairly high. That I got off the bike and the bike was standing. And then there was a bus coming from front and a bus coming from back. So thankfully, almost 10-15 people got off the bus and then kind of push out the bike and all. That was like, and it took good half an hour to kind of really get things out, then clean up the bloody mud shed because the whole chain and everything was completely covered with sand. So that was like, okay, this is not what I had signed up for kind of thing. But then again, it was a short thing. Once got back onto the main road, I was like, okay, fine. And Bagan was something that I was looking forward to in terms of seeing. That's why I sort of managed out of it.
तो मेरा
just wait. Can close the door. Can hear you, Faris?
The door is closed.
Okay, then Jalan la, never mind la.
फिर से close कर.
Can talk softly a bit. The door is closed. I can still hear everything.
My sister is like an Indian father. She talks on loudspeaker. She watches video on loudspeaker. She doesn't give a damn. I'm like, hello, I watching. You know, I have a speaker right next to me, yeah? And I can hear her over my speaker. I'm like, you got your phone? I gave you one set. You use her.
Okay, now I think it should be okay.
Yeah, we know.
Okay.
Mera, the best moment. See, for me, if you take as a whole ride, the best moment for me was the ride from what was it? Yeah, Takawala Twisties.
Hey, that is Thailand lah.
That's
Nah, I
Thailand.
know. I'm saying as a whole, when you consider
Yes.
it, that was the best.
Yeah,
We're
yeah,
talking about
yeah.
Myanmar.
In the Myanmar part, actually, one as Harsh told, the mountain section, I quite liked it. The ride per se was not that great, but at least that is where we started to see the landscape changing kind of thing, right? So that was good. And what else? Yeah, there was another moment where me and Jaspreet was sitting at 200 plus, and then just see, because I didn't expect us to do any good speeds until we got onto that highway. So doing 200 was like, man, this is like back in our territory kind of thing. And he was like, bindas. Okay, 200, chalo, 200 is like. So it went on for quite some time, but it was like after those bad roads, whatnot, it was like a relief from all those things.
Yeah.
I could see us munching miles at such a good pace after a long time. So that was a good change. Other than that, nothing really comes to my mind. But I do think that riding in cold was pretty good, because after all those hot riding, I think once we were near the inlay kind of thing, I think so it was pretty cold, and roads were pretty decent too. So altogether, it was a good mix. Like going towards inlay, I think so the twisties were pretty good. The climate was pretty chill. So yeah, and one thing I would want to highlight is the biggest highlight for me in Burma was the biryani on the first day. How can somebody forget that, man? We even discussed of going back to the same place at what 7 o'clock in the morning while returning. So yeah, those were mine. And okay, for me in Burma, the downs were like, to be very frank enough, I was expecting more out of what is that? Golden Rocks. I wasn't expecting it to be, but the journey towards there and everything was fine. But we actually, when we saw the Golden Rock, it was like there is nothing special about it. We didn't even bother going towards near to that, right? So it was nothing special. And then it was Mandalay. I was like, why have we come to a city like this and then staying there? I didn't quite click me, because coming from Bagan and going to Inlay was like, Bagan and Inlay are two places I really like. So these were like nothing special about it. I didn't even feel like going and exploring the place or anything in Mandalay, to be very frank. So those were the things for me.
I think mine, the high would be, I think, after lunch, going towards inlet. Those wide roads, those turns and all. Yeah, it has to be that.
Right.
And I think the low was, let me see. I think the low was just generally the bad roads. I think it was just extra tiring. I mean, if not for that, I think it would have been quite a fun ride. I think just that points. Like, I mean, yeah, the views were nice. Certain points, the views are really nice. The fields beside you and whatever. But afterwards, it just got tiring. You know, you can't really like look around too much because you have to see what's in front of you. Like, there's no pothole and whatever not. Yeah. Other than that, yeah, I think that's it. Yeah, I think food-wise also same. I think it was only the biryani that was really good. And I think in Bagan, there were one or two like really nice places. But then, generally, I think the food was nothing spectacular. Yeah, I think that's it. Yeah, that's it.
I think for me, the highlight of the ride was, like I said, right, from Inlay to going to from Mandalay going to Inlay. You guys went to top up your air and everything, and had already done it the previous night. So I remember going off the main highway, taking a left, and then being, these maize fields and all that. So I think just from there onwards, I think it was just, and it helped that the weather was a little cooler.
Yes.
And, so in terms of scenery, in terms of the ride, in terms of just being in my zone, being alone and riding, I think that's something that I really enjoyed. Not having to, look back, check ki kaun hai, kaun nahi hai. Traffic was extremely low for once. There was one road which had very minimal traffic. The
Right.
views were stunning. I remember parking the bike on the road, walking down to a stream and seeing the houses and the boats next to it and all that. I think that was the highlight. And if I have to do in isolation one ride alone, I think I would do that one ride alone. Coming out into Thailand and riding, I think that is just in another league of its own, because one, the roads are good. I think two, we were so excited to get good roads. Three, they were twisties. Four, we were trying to make it, before sunset. And then three of us were together. So, it's just a very, very good combination to really push because, you have your back, kuch hua to hai, we have each
Right.
So, but yeah, in Myanmar, I think this one was fantastic. In terms of the low moment, I think was the second day ride from starting late and I being upset with Jaw and then the roads being really, really, really shitty, right? In terms of the people, in terms of the traffic, in terms of just the tarmac quality, because that stretch is extremely bumpy. On the return, I lost my horn relay over there, right? So
Yeah.
you can imagine, right? It was really, really terrible. So putting all of that together, I think that was the lowest moment of my trip, which in a way is good. It started at after that, everything just got better and
Yes,
culminated in Inlay. So for me, on the whole, the trip was just getting better.
Right.
For me, in terms of the road riding, in terms of, I think Golden Rock was a little disappointing. Dekha nahi dekha, honestly, right? Na
Correct,
khana
no.
acha, na kuch
I mean, the
acha
views
wahan pe.
around it was nice.
Yeah, and
I
even
mean,
The
I
mountain, because
really
you're on the mountain in the
He-
morning, the
I mean,
mist and all kind of thing was nice. I mean,
nothing special about it.
nothing
We have
spectacular.
seen much
yeah.
better things.
Exactly.
As in nothing spectacular. But since you're
Yeah.
there, okay, like you can make do with the views and all. But
Yeah, I
the
mean,
Golden
since
Rock
you have gone
itself,
there, okay lah. Yeah, I think
it's one of
then,
those you'll go once.
yeah, I think Bagan was something that I was very excited to
Oh, yeah.
go see. Unfortunately, I didn't read up enough about the history of the temple, so the actual going and walking around the temple, I think had Jaw not been there, we wouldn't have spent that much time there. So thankfully,
Yes.
we had Jaw to tell us
Yes.
about the
Yeah.
temples and about the different corners and the different days and how the air circulation goes on in the temple. So I think that was very good. I think without a doubt, going up to that tower was probably the best.
Oh yeah.
Meet.
Yeah.
When the light came on.
Until the bus
Yes.
came.
Until
Until
Yeah.
what?
Until the bus or Chinaman came.
Hey, don't make me cut such
Before that
things
was-
out, lah.
Before that, it was nice and peaceful.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
True.
I think that was fantastic. Though I think maybe we should have every couple of 15-20 minutes just gone 1 or 2 levels lower to get a different perspective. This is more from a photography point of view. Also, you'd have got a lot of shanti, like he said, the bus and all.
True.
So I think that was fantastic. I think the hair wash was probably one of the better ones I've had. Right? You lie down and they wash your hair. I
That's
mean,
right.
it doesn't get better than that. Say, poor
Vinay
Vinal
cannot
can't
relate.
enjoy that. But it's the head massage. It's the head massage. It's really that head massage that
Yeah.
that's just amazing. I think Bagan on the whole felt like a holiday.
Yeah.
It just
Seriously.
felt like 4 guys out on a holiday. We had a driver with us, a car with us. We were eating amazing food. I think all the food in Bagan was generally very good, very
Yep.
rich food. I think that also tired us a lot. But I think that was I think
Food was
fantastic.
really good.
Yeah. So I think of course Mandalay, the sunset was brilliant, and probably the best
UPN,
sunset.
yes.
Yeah, at
I bet.
UPN Bridge. I mean, personally, to me, my holidays are generally about sunsets and sunrises. Those are almost a must do, or I look out eagerly to, I will ride to a point to go see a sunset, and then come back in the dark. So to me, Ubian Bridge was fantastic. On the whole, Mandalay as a city, I think quite disappointing. We
Yeah.
went to
Yeah. I
Mandalay
mean,
Hill.
even
it
went
was
to
so
Mandalay Hill
hazy.
also was nothing great
Uh,
actually.
Yeah, I mean that Amarapura, I don't know how it would have been. There's another big temple about 45 minutes the other side of Mandalay. I don't know how it would have been, but I think Mandalay on the whole was like, okay,
Yeah.
I think only we had good Burmese food in Mandalay at the
Yeah.
cafe. Other than that, no. We really
The
tried.
worst also we had in Mandalay only, right?
All right.
The last night, Harsh.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
Seven Sisters in Bagan also.
That was more Chinese Asian kind of thing, right?
No, yeah, there wasn't Burmese because we went to a cafe that actually gave like proper Burmese food. So I think three of us actually tried Burmese food.
Yeah, there was Ono Khao Sui. There was I can't remember what I ate, but yeah, it was proper like Burmese
The food
noodles
was,
and
yeah.
curry and all that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
It was good.
yeah. Apart from that, yeah, I think that's my highs and lows of the trip.
Yeah.
Hey, interesting characters. Anybody else has
Jasprit.
anything to say about highlights?
Jasprit.
Okay, so interesting characters, Jasprit, huh? Okay.
Because I never rode with him before,
Huh.
right? I didn't interact much with him before. This was first trip. And like, trust me, I really enjoyed the trip because of him. Because I think he doesn't talk much. But when he does, it is fun time. So it was pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah, fair.
And there were interesting characters, right? You remember the guy who was crossing the road, and when the signal went on, he was like standing in between the road and then saying, "Okay, go ahead, whatever you want to do, hit me." So that was
I was
one.
with you. Yeah.
Another one was the guy. Yeah, and another one was the incident that Angad was talking about. People coming on to us and saying like, "What are you guys doing here? I am on wrong side. That's fine, but what are you guys doing?"
I met quite a few people because most of my riding was without you guys, right? And after the second day, I got lost. And then I realized that Google Maps is not gonna trust. And most of the people were very helpful and sent me on very, very good roads. So like on second day, I asked someone when I was way behind you guys because initially because of bike issue. So he said, "Why are you going this way? Just turn left and there'll be a beautiful road through the field and it'll take you to an even more beautiful road." And that's how I ended up, even being almost a couple of hours behind you, ended up at the lunchtime within about half an hour, 45 minutes of you guys reaching.
5 minutes. 5 minutes.
5 minutes. 5 minutes.
5
Yeah.
minutes.
Yeah.
So
5 to 10 minutes. Yeah.
and the road through the fields and all was actually very, very beautiful. It was completely empty. There was no one coming on us, so you could actually speed up and good. So that was one. Then the guys who helped me take out the bike from the sand near Bagan, right? Again, I think the biggest thing for me was most people don't recognize my bike, right? It's not a very common bike. But in Myanmar, most people recognize Suzuki. So everyone would immediately see the S and they say, "Oh, Suzuki," because Suzuki's from the
Very
car
famous,
perspective is fairly
right.
dominant in Myanmar. So that was an interesting thing that people would come and talk and, "Okay, where are you coming from?" Then I think towards the end, I met this biker who was riding a Honda 200, I think, and doing basically, I think, Mandalay to Inlay, right? So had basically had a nice conversation with him, had a meal with him, and then sort of we continued on our own way. So it's been, because I was riding alone and not really focused on where the map is sending me. After every 25-30 kilometers, I would usually stop, ask someone, "Am I in the right direction?" People would generally say, "Okay, where are you going? Why don't you take this road?" So ended up having interesting moments.
Okay.
True.
I think mine was I think I shared with Angad that day, but I think all of us kind of missed it. Except I saw it, but I was like, okay. You remember when we were going towards Inlay and we stopped for lunch? Remember how bikes were parked just in front of the restaurant and there was a school across the road?
Right. The
So you remember till that, I mean, basically the whole trip, people generally stand away from your bike. They don't want to touch your bike. They, just stand
Right.
generally away. So
True.
I remember this small kid, this was after Angad reached up, but a small kid, he was waiting to cross the road, waiting for the guy to tell him to cross the road. He came, he touched my bike, then he looked at the guard, did he catch me or not? Because before that, nobody actually touches your bike, right? So it's like, he did it like defiant kind of thing. He touched it, then he looked at the guard, did anyone see me? That kind of thing. So like, I just found it quite funny, like, yeah, that was the only thing I was like, okay, it's interesting. But nobody saw it. That's the funny thing. Nobody actually saw it. Yeah, that was the only one I saw.
Now, Vinal, any more interesting characters apart from your boom boom partner?
Not actually interesting characters. couple of things which comes to my mind is, you remember you were shooting that bullock cart in slow motion or what? Jaspreet was probably shooting that, and I went
I was.
into the field
Yeah,
towards the
Oh,
riverbed, right?
that one, yeah. After the farmer was killed you, yes.
Yeah, so I went in and then saw that there was a field. If I get to the other end of the field, I can park the vehicle next to the river and whatnot. Nothing interesting actually there, but until you reach there, you'll not know that. So I take the bike into the field by the side and then go all the way till the end. And then I see this guy giving me a very weird look, like, why are you like entering my field with a motorcycle kind of thing? And then what he does is that he collects all the thorny bits of branches or whatnot and then puts it on my way so that I can't return back. I'm like, man, I'm stuck here. And literally I was stuck because at the end I had to make a U-turn. And if I have to make a U-turn, I have to get onto his field. And I was definitely sure this guy will get this. I was like, for a moment, I was totally shook. And then I see like boom boom coming and parking his bike. I'm like, okay, now I'm saved. I have a partner. Even if I'm getting beaten, there is one more. Then Angad comes. And this guy, Jaspreet, just walks. He's like, what happened? I'm like, I'm taking a U-turn. Come. Then he removes all the branches and that guy comes running and like, don't remove. Then he's like, why? The bike has to come now. Then I come out. That was one. And there was something else where I felt a bit surprised. I don't recall that, but this was one wherein I was like, if Jaspreet and you wouldn't have reached on time, probably these guys would have caught me and told, okay, you don't go anywhere. You spoiled our fields and whatnot.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is one thing. Other than that, I think, yeah, pretty much the same. And interestingly, I found our guide to be, I probably told you, Angad, that he, like the way he talks, the way he is in general, his behavior, it's like a known person to me. Like there was somebody who had worked with me and he moved on to US now, I guess. So he's like, he felt like the other person. So I was like, there are a lot of common things in them, right? The way they talk, the way they walk, whatever it is. So yeah, those things. Other than that, I don't really recall anybody else.
I think for me, my travels are about the people. I like to meet people, like to interact with people. So I just tend to pay a lot more attention to the people
Right.
that I'm around. So on the get-go, I realized that unlike in Thailand, eye contact is followed by a smile. Right? It's always followed by a smile, whether they're happy with you or whether they're not happy with you. In Myanmar, when you smile at them, they just give you a very, very confused look. So they come across as being, unfriendly and whatever not. But I think that's far from the truth.
Yes.
I think my very first experience was our police guide at Kaitko at the Golden Rock. A very cute fellow. I was selfie with him. And, he wanted to pay for his own breakfast. And, I think 2 or 3 times he saved my life because I was taking photos without paying attention to my surroundings. And I think I would have got hit by a lorry or, at least got honked at by a lorry or something or the other. So I think that showed me, actually Burmese people are, just like anybody else, very nice. I think their understanding of English, though it is way better than Thailand, is still a bit lost. And they try to do things for you, but they sometimes are not the best at it because their understanding is not great. And this is again at Kaitko when I was asking for char kway, and they just fried the bread and gave it to me. Right. So I remember that, and then I think the other set of people, of course, Joe. I think he was very good in what he did. Of course, he had his moments, like in Inlay when he got drunk. He told me, "You figure out the way on your own." So I think that was. I mean, okay, he's an interesting guy, interesting Buddha. I think the other one person, if I had to choose from the trip, was that Panch Ratan. I think only Jaspreet and me met him.
Right.
And he's a Bihari of Bihari origins, and his great grandfather or somebody had moved there, and he was named Panch Ratan because his father had 5, and he was the 5th one. So he's like, "Chalo Panch Ratan naam rakh lo." So, and that's the first time I actually ate the roadside food, because I was petrified of eating roadside food. I'd been scared so much in Thailand about, the bad food and getting bad stomach and whatever not. So I think just because, of that conversation, I didn't want to, insult him by not taking his food. And then of course we took it, we ate it, and I think it was amazing. So I think he was a very interesting character to talk to, and it was almost because every Indian I have met outside of India, they know about India. This guy didn't even know where Bihar is in India. So
Yeah.
that's how disconnected they are. But they speak the proper dialect, their accent, their dressing, their women dress exactly the same way and everything. Um, so I think that were a few characters that I came across in Myanmar that strike out right now to me. I'm sure there were a
Yeah.
couple of others, but they don't quite strike out.
True.
Okay. So we've talked about places we enjoyed. Harsh, you've not really talked about places you enjoyed, right?
Places,
I
basically
think.
Bagan. Basically, the thing is, I had been to all these places before, right? So for me, it was I kind of knew, so I knew I wanted to go to Bagan and kind of just ride around. And again, the last time when I and Amrit had gone, so we had a full mega tour, right? So we'd seen almost all the temples. But as you rightly point, that was the first element of kind of a holiday kind of a feel, right? You were relaxed, right? We didn't have to rush to next day to some other place, right? I mean, and the one thing that I realized that if someone else wants to do it, or if I'm going to do this trip again, we're going to pace it out more. Expand the trip over a number of few more days, kind of take a relax in Inle, relax in sort of Bagan, Mandalay. Aside for food, you can sort of kick it out. And there's a bunch of places which I kind of missed going to, probably next time I'll go to. So yeah, so Bagan for me was pretty much the highlight, and rest of it was then back in Thailand riding around.
Yeah. Um, so since we are talking about highlights, and no, what were we talking about? We were talking about redoing the trip, right? That's what Harsh brought about. You
Yeah.
want to talk about that?
Redoing the trip. So to begin with, something might be strange, but I'm a person usually who, whenever you bring in an idea, Angad, you would have noticed this, that I don't do any research if you are doing it, right? I am a perfect believer that if I have to do it, if I have to lead the thing, I do my research. Otherwise, I don't damn bother about anything. Let somebody do the thing. The problem for me is that if you tell something, I don't want to say that, okay, I don't really am interested in that. I'm just fine riding with you. I don't bother where it is. I just follow kind of thing. So to be very frank enough, when this Burma trip came, I was a bit busy. Plus that usual lazy attitude that I don't want to do any research. I didn't have any clue to what I'm getting into. So when I get into Burma, the main thing, main attraction point, and we had talked about this, that okay, once we do Burma, the next might be India, right? Like once you know Burma well, then there's only that standing in between us and going to India kind of thing. So we're like going to Burma. That was most exciting thing to me. Doesn't really matter how the roads are, where we are ending up. Doesn't really matter. But you had warned me that roads are not going to be as good. But I was like back in my mind, nothing can be as bad as what I have seen in India, and which was true. But the problem is that so much has changed from the days I was riding in India. So if I think about Burma now, and you remember this, that like after going into Burma, it is like no way we are going to India. We are this route, and that too anything like very recently anyway, right? Like after a long time, maybe the roads are better or something. We can think about it, but nothing so soon or anything. So for me, the thing is that if I have to go to Burma, I might not even ride, to be very frank. I might ride. I'll go into Burma. I might want to go to. I for sure want to go to Bagan. That is one place I enjoyed. Inlay was good, but to me, the highlight is always Bagan. So I might go to Bagan, rent out a scooter or something like that, which I don't want to be speeding or anything over there. Just want to be really relaxed, go in, explore. There are plenty of things, like even if it is like people say that okay, they are like old buildings which all look the same and whatnot, but every building tells you something of that sort. I felt there. So it is like get out in the evening, just go around, explore the whole place. So Bagan is one place I would certainly want to go. But as I told, I might not want to ride the whole Burma and explore anything. Mandalay, definitely I will not go. And probably Inlay is another place, but to me, Bagan will do it for me. Like, that is one thing which stands out for me. So yeah, that is what I would want to do. I wouldn't probably ride the entire distance unless we are aiming for something else. So yeah, that's it for me.
Ashwin Singh?
We are smiling because that's exactly what we spoke about that day. Literally, go to Bagan, get a bike, ride around, and fly back.
Right.
Not go to ride in.
No, seriously.
Yeah, but I think the standout basically was Bagan. Inlay also, to be honest, Indian Lake was nothing spectacular. For me, at least. It was like, I mean, it's nice place, but it wasn't spectacular, like, oh, like that kind of thing. But I won't go there just for Inlay Lake again. I'll go there for the cold temperatures and just to explore a bit more around the area, but I won't really go there for the lake. Like, it's you do it once and you don't need to do it again kind of thing.
Right.
Yeah.
I think for me, I think like what Harsh said, right, that spread out the trip. So I think anybody who's going after us, I would tell them to spread out the trip. Whether to skip Mandalay or not is a question mark, because honestly,
Right.
Nubian Bridge was a real highlight for me. And that time that I spent there in the chaos, just generally walking through, maybe one night just to be at Nubian Bridge and then leave. I don't know. But definitely Bagan is the highlight. Maybe an extra day in Bagan, I don't know.
Yep.
But definitely spread it out. If you are not Buddhist, then, Golden Rock is not a big deal. Even if you skip it, I think that's fine. Like on the first day,
Yeah.
try to hit a further distance if you can, maybe go to one of those earlier towns, maybe further away towns, and see if you can possibly stop there, as opposed to, because we were at our hotel by about 2+, almost 3 o'clock, after a nice leisurely lunch. So I think we could have pushed on maybe another 3-4 hours and gotten somewhere. I don't know if it's possible, but I think that would be my point to make.
I would also say skip Mount Popa.
Popa, I was actually thinking staying a night at the Popa resort might be nice, because
Yeah,
the views are quite good. As the views
except
are
that,
very
but
good.
nothing is there, right? I think
there's
the
nothing
ride
there.
per se, there is nothing.
Baki kuch nahi hai, and it's expensive. The hotel's cheap,
Yeah.
but the food's expensive. So I think you'd
Yeah,
pay
yeah.
eating a meal, you'd pay the same as the room rate for a meal. 3-4 people eating would be the same cost of one room.
Plus in USD.
Plus in USD. So, but yeah, I think it was, even if we didn't go that way, I think the Good Factory, the Jaggery, was very good.
Yeah.
And cheap.
And cheap and very tasty. The next, I think as a holiday, like I think Jasprit was saying, right? I think fly in, go to Bagan, spend a couple of days there, rent a scooter and go around. Good time to show family that as well. And I think the sooner the better, because of the number of oil fields popping around everywhere. I think things are going to get expensive. Things may not last very long. So yeah, I think that would be it. And I think my next ride into Burma would be if I'm crossing to India. Apart from that, I don't really see myself putting myself through that. And see, if going to Burma didn't cost as much money with a guide and everything, I think I would have probably still done it just to explore. But spending that kind of money again for the same thing, no, definitely not. Ash, anything to add?
No, fair enough.
Okay. Let's see. What else do we have here? Talked about roads and traffic. We talked about near misses, low and high moments, characters, places. Okay, last but not, I think the last one, we have about 5 minutes, so let's try and wrap it up in that. Food.
How's the biryani?
Food? Yeah?
Biryani.
Oh, the biryani.
Restaurants in Bagan and some of the cafes in Mandalay.
Right.
The thing is, the biryani only stands out. Everything else is like, there was good food, but nothing really stands out like a biryani, right? That was the best food I had probably in the whole trip. So,
Okay. Just Singh?
I think same. I think it was just a biryani, and I think the pizza inlay, because it was something different, a change from whatever we had before, like for the whole trip, lah, basically.
Yep.
Yeah. I think these were the main two. The rest, okay. The gur was a welcome surprise. Like the first time I saw it, like, what's this? Like, I remember Vinod saying, "What the tea is this?" So yeah, then I think when you eat it, then it's like, yeah, it's nice that we actually went there. So yeah, that was a good surprise. But then that, yeah, was nothing. I think these were the main two, I guess. The inlay and this one. Inlay and the biryani.
You liked the last dinner at Manly, right? So what was that hotel's name?
But you would have hopefully cleared up your plate.
I think to me, yes, the biryani. I think that's a highlight for everybody, and eating the cold cuts, specifically the cold cuts in Bagan. I think,
the cafe.
Yeah, the cafe where
the
you guys
cafe,
had
right?
pizza, right? The cold cuts there. I think those two were really the highlight in terms of food. I think Seven Sisters was nice, that the Asian food that was cooked was actually had fresh meat and tasted very well. I think everywhere else in Bagan, my issue was that the meat was old. I think, and you could, tell just from looking at it that you don't want to eat this. And I think to any Punjabi people going there, please carry tea bags with you. You do not get tea in Myanmar, right? You get
but you
green
don't
tea.
get desi cha kind of thing.
You don't get our desi chai. You'll get milk, but please carry your tea bags.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you're not getting tea. What you will get is something called Royal Burma tea, which is just sugar. I actually bought a packet of it from the restaurant, right? I picked up a few because that day I had it. I was like, tea, finally, right? I had it in Singapore a couple of months later. I'm like, cannot. Had to pour it away. So yeah, food is not great in Myanmar. Local Myanmar cuisine, I think we tried very little. They have a lot of fermented dishes. I remember we went to one restaurant thinking we'll get khao soi there. And I don't know who it was, but was probably Harshla, knowing his character, that he was just so terribly turned off by that sour smell. We left from there. We changed money with Joe outside the restaurant, went in and were like,
Oh, before we walked to the other place.
Yeah, before we walked over to the other amazing place, which Jasprit finished off his plate.
Yeah, it wasn't me, it was Vinal.
Yeah, Vinal. See, the thing with Vinal is no matter what you put in his plate, he will finish it off.
Yeah, because he enjoyed it, that's why he finished it.
Unless it is unedible, like actually, rotten, Vinal will eat it. That's how he is, right? He doesn't waste his food. So nice, not nice, our fan will finish.
One more place where we had good food was on the way to Inlay. The roadside.
The lunch.
Yeah, very homely. Like I remember eating something very like homely. A dal chawal kind of thing, like chicken curry and rice or something. It was very nice. Again, I think it was the same biryani kind of Indian Muslim situation that was there as well. So I think that was great. I think we're going to get cut off any moment. So I think it was a good chat. And we catch up another time. I'll go through the footage. I'll let you know.
Sure.
Okay. Take care then.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Okay.
Yeah, bye.
Bye.